So here it is, the Snorkel ATV Warrior Riser kit. This is everything that comes in the kit. Some zip ties, some hose clamps. Yeah, first thing I did was unbox everything, make sure I had all the pieces, and then read through the instructions, which someone didn't proofread, because if you read these instructions, this kit does not make your ATV invisible. Disappear. Yeah, no. I think they meant to say invincible, but it's looking like the first thing we're gonna have to do is rip off all the plastics. So we're gonna get to it. We're just gonna break this down piece by piece. First thing I took off is this guy right here. There were 4 bolts, 1 in each corner. Next thing I took off was the cover that goes in the front, 2 bolts that were underneath that panel, and then the 2 connections. This is the next piece we took off. Had a bolt up there, a couple bolts back there. The one bolt that goes right here is 4mm Allen. We had to loosen up the footwell to get access to a bolt that was down here. You see, now we got that. And this is my whole reason for doing this. I don't know why Kawasaki did this. You can see how high up their belt intake is. It's almost the whole way up here. And then their engine intake's right here. What are they thinking? Alright, next things are removed were the rest of the footwell bolts. The couple were up there with a 10mm behind it, and this plastic cover. Now we've got this whole side exposed. You can see your CVT intake and your CVT outlet right here. So once you have this off, it's just one clamp down here on the bottom, that clamp right there with a Phillips head, and you can get your intake pipe out. So in the instructions, it'll tell you to cut off the little reducer end and put it back into this pipe, so that, you know, the 4-wheeler runs right for the jetting that it already has. I think I'm just going to leave that part out, and then if I notice it's not running right, I'll probably just rejet the carb, get a little bit more power out of it, opening up the intake. But yeah, they want you to cut that off and stick it back in the end of the pipe, and then they want you to make another cut right here. So what we're going to do. So we got your main intake pipe mocked up. You can see that's the factory piece into this, and that's about how it's going to go. Next thing we're going to have to do is remove the front end. First thing I took off was the front rack. See, it had 2 10mm and then a bunch of 12s, and then this plastic piece just had 4 obvious 10mm and 2 Phillips screws right here. And then the front bumper, which had 2 10mm back here and 4 12mm here, and that came off. Next thing we're gonna have to do is this footwell, and then the front plastic should pull off. Well, we got the whole front end torn off for now. Was a bunch of bolts to get this off. The shifter has 1 Allen bolt down there. You see, it's the same 4mm we've already been using. And then same situation as the other side, where we gotta take all these bolts out of here. And yeah, we got it off. I disconnected this down at the CVT so I could just pull it off together. You don't technically have to do that. It was just easier for me than trying to get these bolts loose with the front end still on. And because I'm going to be putting halos on this, it's going to be a lot easier for me to do that with the whole front off right now. So we'll have to figure out which one of these triggers the running light. So I think I'm just going to run my halos off the little running light bulb. As you can see, the next thing to do is trim a little bit off the CVT outlet, or sorry, CVT inlet trim a little bit off the CVT inlet. And this stuff we're not going to be using anymore. So I've got the other side completely stripped because we're going to have to run the CVT outlet on this side. Got everything kind of mocked up. I'm thinking I might trim back this a bit more so that they all sit on the same level. You can kind of see how your engine intake's going to run. I had to loosen up the spark plug wire and route it around it, otherwise it was hitting on that. I did some testing with my multimeter. Found out that the green wire here is the one that triggers the running lights on when you turn your key to the 3rd position. So that's what I'm going to be tapping into for the halos. Now I've never put Snorkel ATV halos on anything. This is the first set I've bought. But I did notice that they're kind of not the right size for the headlight. You see there's a pretty good gap the whole way around. Probably throw them on anyways just because I got them, but we'll see what it looks like once they're installed before I judge it. Alright, well I've already got one done. You can see how it's going to look. But I'm going to kind of try and show you all on this one. Take it apart. You got the 2 bolts there and 2 bolts here. There are Phillips heads down in there. Then you got 8mm here. As you can see, I just cut the wires leading to that bulb. It's just your little marker light, running light for this headlight. Your blue is your positive, and green is your positive on here. Brown is ground, white is ground. Grip and seal connectors so you don't have connectivity issues. Have to heat shrink them and then put it back together. So you can see we got it all in there now. All the wiring stuck behind it. Now we're just going to put silicone on the back of this, center it up, and put it in there. I did take some cleaner and spray off any grease and wax that I had on the front end before you install this so that it sticks. Well, here it is, completely mocked up. Risers will go on top of these. This one runs just like this, all along the side. Goes around the back, kind of close to the swing arm, but it is what it is. I guess that's just where it runs. You can see that one goes into there. Time to get her glued up. So after I put the whole thing together, I broke it back apart, marked everywhere. Let's see if you can see my marks. Kind of mark, you put a mark across the pipe to make sure they all line up, and you do that with all the pipes. And then you take and you use primer, and then your cement, glue them all together, put the heat tape on anywhere it's going to be close to the motor or the exhaust, and now we're going to try and put her back on, see if she fits. Well, here she is, finished product. Got it ran the whole way. That's your CVT outlet right there. And then you got your CVT inlet right there. And your intake pipe. Now it's just time to slap back together. Well folks, there she is. Final product. Everything's ran. It's all up there. All the key things breathe from up top now. Might tweak these a little bit. Make them sit a little more level, but she's there. And then I'll show you those halos too. Put out a lot of light. Some bright halos. Looks mean, I like it. Alright everybody, it's the end of this video. So not that bad. Snorkeling a Brute 300. You have to take apart a lot. No, it's not like a Honda where you just got the one pipe and then vent lines, but at the end of the day, really ain't that hard. Y'all take care. Daddy wants to go try and play in the water.